Hello and welcome to this short video. I decided to shoot this case study video because I'm here in a hotel in Amsterdam and it's Wednesday night and I'm about to meet a business in the morning who have approached me to help them solve a problem. It's what I would call a nice problem, and the problem is essentially the business wants to expand, scale up, but it has some major challenges in delivering the production of its core product. So the business is in the area of it does a lot of 3D modeling. Okay, so and what it does with those 3D models is it produces designs in the construction industry. So it's got a huge project on its books right now, but also it has the potential for considerable scale up over the next few years. So they think that they could need to be sales and production maybe as much as 10 times over the next 2 to 3 years. That's the kind of opportunity in front of them, but they have some major challenges in being able to deliver that. So what I'm going to do here is just put together some very simple slides here just to help kind of talk this problem through, just as an aid for myself as much as anything else, just so I could touch all the important points. So first question of three is I'm going to answer is why the urgent need? And I've got some points here. First of all, success can be a problem. So they're doing well in terms of sales. They've got a great production team. There's something like 47 modelers, I think, sat in an office. I haven't seen the office yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But so what I'm picturing is a large office with 47 people, working away on their workstations and producing these models. Now, why the success can be a problem is that, if they're going to need to scale the business by 10, then that's going to mean all kinds of logistical problems, more offices, considerably more office space, layers and layers more of management, and it completely changes the size and the scale and the whole structure of a business, So they're in a little bit of a catch-22. What's got them to where they've got to is not sustainable, and they can't really, and they know that, and that's hence the point about the realization. So they know that they need help, and fortunately they came in contact with me, and I've consulted with another business who does something in a different industry, but it is quite similar. It is also involving computer design and outsourcing, and in that business we've got a team of outsourced freelance modelers who we've never met, and we even have a manager who's based in the Ukraine who we've never met, and he does an outstanding job. I liaise with him, probably once a month, but it's generally in the region of about 15-20 minutes a month, I'd say is the average, because he's just such a great guy and he's so motivated, which is one of the many benefits of outsourcing. And when people understand how to outsource correctly, the difference that you get in quality is absolutely massive. And the other thing I'd just say before I move on is that I just want to make sure in whenever I'm talking about getting work done at low cost and it's all easy and most of the benefits, it's actually very good for the freelancers as well. You will find your experience, if you do it right, is that the freelancers love this kind of work. They've got that sense of autonomy. They're in some control of their time. When you do it right, you give them the freedom. They're able to express themselves. They're invariably doing it as part-time work, and so therefore they don't quite count their hours in the same way. So it's all bonus territory. So if a freelancer can earn, particularly in a part of the world where let's say $10 is considerably more value than it has in the more developed part of the world, then these guys are actually doing really well, and they're really excited and motivated. And so they love it. So you're not taking any advantage of anybody. So it's a win-win all around. So that's the urgent need. So what's great for me is that this company is coming. They want help. So they're already well advanced in terms of mindset and all that. So so their challenge is not in trying to convince them that they have an opportunity. They have the opportunity. So that's great. So the benefits that they can expect, I just wanted to put this down because these are the kind of benefits that you might be able to expect through using strategic outsourcing. And I'm very keen to stress strategic outsourcing And in separate videos, I'll explain more what I mean about that. But it's considerably different than you're likely to understand, because most people that I talk to, when I ask them what they understand by outsourcing, it is nowhere close to what I would define it as. It's got some similarities, but it's very different. So what they can expect is a massive simplification of their existing business. So if we even forget about, even if this is looked upon as a transition over with the existing volume of work, it's going to be a massive simplification of the business, because I can already tell. I know that they have, I think the number is somewhere in the region of about 80 people in total, and of that, they've got 47, I believe, in this production department. So what are the rest of the guys doing? Of course, some people are going to be in sales, but you've got layers and layers of support. So massive simplification is going to do the following things. It's going to make the business far more profitable, and it's going to make the business far more scalable. And in turn, what it's going to do is it's going to reduce the management load on the business. So I'm going to move to the next point, because I'm going to pick up on some of that. So what I'm going to be telling them tomorrow is here's what I recommend that they do, and it's what I call the 3 pillars of strategic outsourcing. So the first pillar of outsourcing, these are kind of mindset and direct the way you behave in your business. First thing is the mindset of outsource everything. Now, so of course, you're going to have some exceptions. If you look right now, I mean, I'm producing content. I haven't outsourced that. That's quite different. That's a choice, and it's a realization that, in a business like mine, I can't. If I outsource that, it doesn't come across as well. So that's a choice situation. But a lot of the production in and around the content that I produce is actually outsourced. I've got a virtual assistant now who's producing some of the research, and and then the post-production is being done by a couple of different people at the moment. So firstly, outsource everything. That needs to be the mindset. So you're trying to strip out your business and outsource anything that you possibly can. And when you really have to challenge hard anything that you decide to leave behind. So the second thing, and these are needed together. You must have all of these things to make this work, really well. And when you get it to work really well, it works astoundingly well. So the second thing you need to do is you need to move away from processes and get to simple systems. So that all sounds nice, and it sounds perhaps like wishful thinking, but it's not. I mean, simple systems. Particularly any kind of business that produces anything, whether it's physical product or whether it's digital product, including, for example, a lot of people that I expect to meet in the Facebook group and Facebook page. I expect to meet a lot of digital marketers and things like that. And content is production. So just what I'm producing right now, this is a product. At the end of the day, it's a tangible thing, even though it's digital. So and it has a process. So what I like to do is convert these processes to simple systems. And a great visual here is kind of like the domino. I like to use the term domino systems. And what a domino system is simply, in terms of communication, one domino knocks the other one over. I'm sure you fully understand what dominoes do. The point is that there isn't a need for an email in between domino 1 touching domino 2. So you need a system that behaves like dominoes, that is accountable and is automated, and everybody knows what they've got to do. They know they're part of the process. And believe it or not, this is far easier to do in an outsourced environment than it is in an in-house environment. I've worked in a consult in various places, and one of them is it's still got a mix. It's taking time to get the business to transition over. They're reluctant to kind of because they don't believe there's enough resource out in the world, and there's huge amount of resource out there in the world, and it's actually so much harder with people who are paid per time than it is with people who are actually paid per result. It is vastly different. So converting processes, so a lot of businesses will put out process manuals and things like that and flow charts. Invariably, some of them may even be printed and put on the walls. But if you stop anybody in the business and ask them to explain them, they probably don't know them. And at least not everybody involved in production knows them. So they tend to be kind of like dust gathering documents. And there is a value in, of course, producing processes, but it's a much higher value when you can actually convert processes into simple systems. So the third mindset and pillar of strategic outsourcing is kind of like some touch of irony or whatever here. It's basically grow to the smallest team possible. So I could use the word shrink, but I actually think the word grow is actually a better word, because it's really a maturity, and it's evolving and transforming the business so that you can shrink to the smallest team possible. In so many areas of life, you can pull examples of where there's a huge amount of science around small teams, and you will find that small teams are vastly more efficient than large teams. And there's a whole science and explanation of this that I won't get into right now. Essentially, what it boils down to is that it's about communication. So when you have large teams, and large teams, I'm considering a large team to be beyond 5. When you have more than 3 or 4 people in a team, the communication gets vastly more complicated, because all of the relationships affect everyone in the team and affect the overall team performance. So when you can get small units of 2 and 3 people, they can be vastly more productive than those larger teams, because the communications and the understanding of what everybody is doing it becomes more natural. And if you compare to the sporting world, and of course you can, in teams, sporting teams, no matter what team, of multiplayer, sports, you find that communications, they don't work really on processes. They have an innate understanding of what everybody does. The communications are automated. They've got simple systems. Everybody knows what everybody does, and it isn't written up into org charts and all of this kind of stuff. You can probably tell I'm not a fan of the old school kind of systems. I think they're failing in modern businesses, because communications just seem to have gone way too complicated, and email is as much a problem as it is a solution. So basically growing to the smallest team possible. So that's and the benefit, if you think about this, the benefit of all of this is that you will have made your business vastly more profitable. You will have stripped out layers. You imagine, if you can envision the business in the future, when the production is being outsourced, including quality control and all those kind of steps that are considered kind of like potentially management type functions, and reporting, you outsource these. You turn every task into a job, outsource it. So therefore what you end up with is management layers, non-productive layers stripped out of your business. The communication becomes much flatter organizations, and therefore you have massively increased the profitability of the business. The other thing with outsourcing, if you have somebody that you employ in your business and you're paying them on a salary, you're paying per time. If they have a bad day at the office, and you pay for that, I mean, they don't pay for it. Whereas in the outsourcing world, you don't get nearly as many bad days, because they know that they get paid for results, not for time. So what you find is that when you add up the true cost per person, if somebody produces a certain number of outputs in a year, and you add that up and you calculate the cost per output, it tends to be significantly less with the outsourcing. Not because you're paying peanuts, but you are invariably paying kind of lower rates for sure. But the key is that those guys are delivering results. They will only hand you in quality work, particularly because of one of the very important layers of outsourcing, which is about tracking and scoring work in a systemized way. It's another part of the simple systems that I like to implement. So massive benefits. So when this business embraces strategic outsourcing fully, they can start to transition within the business as it stands, and then they can have a business that they can essentially, as they have success with their sales, so they can go forward. Right now, their problem is they're afraid to go out selling, because they just can't handle it. They have a fear that they can't manage what they already, they can't manage anymore with the current size of the business. So when they transition, and that transition can be quite quick. So when they transition over, they will be able to go, and just start selling like crazy, because they're profitable. They'll have, accumulating profits, which they'll be able to use to broaden into other sectors. But also they will be able to take on work and scale rapidly, because this is the great thing with the as part of the process of simplifying your business and in that outsourcing everything, it does force you to actually get really crystal clear on every stage of a process, and what the inputs and the outputs are in very simple terms. So that at each stage of a process, what it should look like. And then actually that's a very healthy thing in a business, because many businesses don't really have those stages as nearly as well defined as they might think. Because if you can't outsource it means it isn't, unless there's a physical reason, that somebody has to do some work on a physical product, and that just has to be done, or you have some equipment, or you have some specialized training that you just don't want to release the IP on, the intellectual property. You're protective of your process. Those situations, aside, if it is potentially possible to outsource it, the process of outsourcing will force you to get that absolutely crystal clear. And when you're at that point, you're immediately scalable, because most of your training will be done in simple ways, with online training and so forth. And even there we look to simplify training, because we find that a lot of training is just it's excessive and it's unnecessary. So I'm going to have a follow-up on this case study when I have more news. In the meantime, I just want to let you know about I'm offering free strategy calls, absolutely no obligation. I'm just interested to hear from as many small business owners as possible. I don't have that many slots, but all you have to do is go to the URL here, http://bit.ly, so it's bit.ly/free-so, that's SO for strategic outsourcing -call. And the capitalization is important, so it's capital F, capital SO, and capital C. So when you go to that link, you'll be directed to a very simple questionnaire. It will take all of about 15-20 seconds. When you do that, I'll get a notification and we'll review, because if I get many questionnaires, I'm going to have to just choose which ones I can take. So we have a call, and it's simple, and I'm not going to hard sell you on anything. I'm not interested in doing that. So I'm quite interested to help. So if you want to come on, let's have a call. We can talk about your business, and I promise you will be exposed to some strategies and ideas that will excite and will give you, I hope, more than food for thought. I hope they'll put you on the road to implementing strategic outsourcing, in your business. And it doesn't matter whether you're a startup or an established business, whether you're online, offline business, you create product or service. You may have some parts of your business that are just not touchable, and that's fine. That's your call. But everything else should be up for grabs, and the time scale is up to you. So whether you want to transition your business over a week, a month, a year, or 10 years, that's entirely up to you. But it's really about getting on the road. So lastly, what I want to do is just talk to you about remind you again, the Facebook page. So I highly recommend you go to the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Ray Henry Training. And when you get there, if you like the page, then click on following and select the option C first. And what that will do is it will prioritize content in your timeline, so your feed, so you'll get more notifications. So what I also recommend is that you join. There's a Facebook group, and how you join that group is under the big red arrow. You'll see visit group, and when you do, you'll have to join. You'll have to fill out a very simple questionnaire. It's only maybe got 1 or 2 questions is all. So the reason why you want to join the group is, I'm regularly going to be doing tutorials. I've got one great tutorial there right now, and the tutorials themselves are stored in the group. They're not on the page, so there's a fair amount of content on the Facebook page, and the group is free, so there's no reason not to join the group. So if you join the group, you will get access to the files. So when you go into the group, you'll just click on files, and it'll take you to here. And here, for example, are files that I've mentioned in a tutorial that's all about how to hire a virtual assistant. This here, for example, has an 11-page. There's an 11-page tutorial with scripts, suggested text, checklists, all of that kind of stuff. Really, really good. And there's a very in-depth video that goes along with that. And included in that, there's this document here is a review of very common questions that are being asked by people in the area of hiring virtual assistants. So that's it for this video. So I'm looking forward to meeting this business tomorrow, because I love the whole area of outsourcing, and I love working with businesses and working with people, and tackling challenges in business, and transforming business. Because ultimately what I love is I love seeing people working in ways that they actually enjoy, and I have a big difficulty with the way that business is run right now. I see the stats on happiness in work are on the floor. Basically, the vast majority of people are working in ways that are, I believe strongly that in 20-30 years we'll look back and wonder, how did we continue working the way we do? So I think it's bordering on inhumane the way we have people working in traditional business, and I see strategic outsourcing as a way that liberates both businesses and people. So that's my passion, and I'm looking forward to helping you to use that, because it's very powerful for you. So till the next time, thank you. Bye bye.